here at Falcon Wealth, I don't have a partner. I have people at the firm that have equity interest, we can call them partners, but my true partner is my spouse. Sometimes we have good days and sometimes we have bad days. Sometimes you have really bad days. I like to say you have a bad day and then after that is a really bad day, but then after that is really good days. Most people quit right before midnight on the really bad days. So you just have to get through it. And having the emotional support there is absolutely needed. Hey there, folks. Lots to talk about today, like always, I feel like. But doing this whole saga and this series of the book, How the Rich Get Richer, coming out July 1st, I thought I would go over every single chapter. And today we are talking about chapter number 3 of how the rich people have partners, how they create financial partners, how they create partners in general. And I thought it was just interesting. Now, this is just for my 20 plus years of experience. Heck, this could be a partner of being married for almost 15 years. This could be just in general. All of us, we've had partners, whether it's in business, whether it's in relationships, whether it's at schools, whether it's at sports, whatever it is, in general, is having a partner. And one of the biggest attributes of this, now you would think a book about money, of how the rich get richer, is just going to focus on a financial partner, hiring an advisor, right? But no, let's take a step back and just talk about life. Right? Isn't that just what all we care about is life in general? And when we take a step back, everything that you look for in a partner, and just if you want to just think about partner, just think about a relationship, like a significant other, because that's really what this is, because a partnership is supposed to be long-term. So when you look at having a partner, the first thing on everything is trust. Trust is crucial to you, right? So we want to make sure we have that. You also want to make sure you like the person. In a relationship, right? Like my spouse, there has to be maybe some level of attraction, right? There has to be something you like, or in this case, about the person that you're working with, or maybe the company that you're working with. Now, this is important when you have a partnership. I'll give you an example. I've said this before. Sometimes, now I'm going to relate it to finance, right? Naturally. So you have an advisor who's maybe just extremely smooth and charming and well-spoken, but work for an absolutely terrible firm, just maybe slinging insurance products, claiming they're a financial advisor when they're just a commissioned insurance agent. Now, you may still hire them because you like the person, versus you might have a really poor communicator and a bad person working at an amazing firm, but you're not going to want to work with them, right? A partnership has to be somebody you trust and somebody you like. That's why in a perfect world, what I try to build here at Falcon Wealth is have amazing people with an amazing firm. That's easy to consistently win. And that's what we want to do. When we win, you win. And when you win, we win. That's why we're not commission-based. But yet again, taking a step back, when you have a partnership, you are forming a relationship. Like I said, we do it in multiple different things in our life. Seriously, I was coaching my son's baseball team. Well, I formed a partnership with these guys to commit ourselves and to be there for support to help the coaches, to help the kids. That is a partnership, which leads to the first part of a partnership. And part of it is to support you. You have to have some type of value add for it to be relevant to you. If the support isn't there, what are you having that partnership for? You could have just done it on your own, which is why you see extremely self-motivated and independent thinkers and doers normally don't do partnerships. They do it on their own. Another thing having a right partnership for is to control your emotions. Seriously, you want to bounce things off somebody. Now, here at Falcon Wealth, I don't have a partner. It's all Falcon. I started it from scratch. I have people at the firm that have equity interest, we can call them partners, but my true partner is my spouse. She helps get me in, she supports me when I'm down. In addition to that, she does help for emotional support. Sometimes we have good days and sometimes we have bad days. Sometimes you have really bad days. I like to say you have a bad day and then after that is a really bad day, but then after that is really good days. Most people quit right before midnight on the really bad days, the second day. So you just have to get through it. And having the emotional support there is absolutely needed. By the way, folks, if you're just joining me, you're listening to Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner, and your host of More Knowledge, More Wealth here on every weekend, talking about all important topics of personal finance. And today we're talking about how the rich get richer, chapter 3, talking about having the right, how rich people have the right partners. And when you go into great detail of that, and you look at the core characteristics of this, part of a partnership does is you have somebody that holds you accountable, and which leads to discipline. They make sure you stay disciplined. And when you stay disciplined, you get things done. You don't get distracted. That's the biggest problem nowadays, is people get distracted. And it's so easy to do that. And it's so easy to find the next shiny thing and go spend your time and energy on that. But by staying disciplined, keeping your emotions in check, and not veering off into something that does not take you to your destination is huge. I'll take it a step further. There is times where you need to veer away from your current course of action, because that will lead to failure, because things change and things adjust. If you look at some of the biggest businesses today, what they originally envisioned on day one is different than where they are today. So partnerships are huge. And then, and I kind of talked about this, you got the hard times. Now, in my world, people who look to engage us for a financial partner, they have the markets dropping, they see their dreams being just vanishing away, and then they focus on, wow, I just lost $100,000, $1 million. It took me a year, 10 years to gain all that money, and it's gone in just one day, which leads to the discipline, which leads for emotional behavior and control. And then, of course, the support is there. Being a financial planner sometimes is more of a financial psychologist. It's keeping you in control. And it's the same thing with an attorney. It's the same thing with an accountant. Same thing with a significant other, a business partner, whoever the case that you're doing and have some type of relationship with. It is crucial to stay disciplined. And these are the core elements that I often see people mess up. Seriously, I see it all the time. This is why I'll never talk bad about my wife. Seriously, think about that. If I had an issue with my wife and I go and tell my friends, and now my friends have this thing in their head about how bad my wife is, and all of a sudden I go home and I make up with my wife. Next time I see him, it's like, oh, how's your naggy wife doing again? All of a sudden it like re-stimulates those negative emotions. And I come home and now bring those negative emotions home. Or I'm defending myself against them. They don't know what we talked about and what we resolved behind closed doors. This is why it's so important to sometimes keep things to yourself, or truly have a partner, not an acquaintance, not a customer, not somebody that you see here, say some friendships, but we're talking about a true partnership that has your vested interest at heart. And there's only a few people that you can do that with. There's only so many partners in the world that you can decide to take a piece of you and share it with somebody. This is sometimes the biggest failures that I've seen in people. And you see it all the time in every aspect of a partnership that you can see. Of course, I fixate on relationships because we can all relate to that. Whether you have a professional that you're working with, or whether you've engaged in some type of partnership arrangement with somebody else. Everybody understands a relationship, even if you've never been in one. You've always had some type of feelings. That's what makes us human. So with all that being said, you always have to reassess yourself and making sure you're surrounding yourself with the right amount of partners. That is crucial to your success. And sometimes it's just to keep you in that straight line. Now, to say that everybody needs one, not completely necessary. I hear people who have personal coaches, just literally like life coaches. Now, does everybody need a life coach? I'm sure the people that have one maybe are the ones that wanted one. We can even argue needed one, but we can't always relate one person's situation and say everybody has it. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes the great individual executors achieve more one person than a whole group of people. But are you checking off all the boxes? That's the question you have to ask. So when we come back, we're going to go on a quick break. We're going to talk more about partnerships. And then I will dive a little bit into what a financial partnership looks like, because that's some of the biggest mistakes people have. Some of the biggest arguments people have is about money. So by being able to take control of your financial situation through having a right partnership and understanding why some of the smartest and richest people in the world have financial partners is why we should probably self-reflect on ourselves on what we should be doing. Remember, the whole goal of this is how the rich get richer. Let's see what we can learn. I'll be right back after a few words.
This is Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner and President of Falcon Wealth Planning. We wanted to offer you a free financial assessment for listening to the show so you can help relate it to your specific situation. We offer multiple services such as retirement planning, where you are today, how retirement looks like, talking about Social Security, real estate, planning, even if you own a business, talking about taxes, not just how to save money today, but also throughout retirement. Talk about investments, making sure you're avoiding those high fees, costs, commissions, and also estate planning and insurance, just making sure you're properly protected if, God forbid, something were to happen. And we're offering 1 to 2 meetings, 1 to 2 hours of our time at no cost. Give us a call. We would love to help. Our phone number is 855-963-2526. That's 855-96-FALCON, like the bird. Or visit our website at falconwealthplanning.com. That's falconwp.com for short, and fill out the form fill right there on our site.
Welcome back, folks. This is Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner, and your host of More Knowledge, More Wealth here on every weekend. And we're talking about all important topics of personal finance. And I thought, what's more important than talking about the book that's coming out July 1st of How the Rich Get Richer, which you're able to find on all the different avenues, whether it's on Barnes & Noble, Target, or Amazon, whatever it is. It's a great book. You should give it a read. And we are talking about chapter 3 of how the rich choose their partners. And of course, it's easy to talk about financial partners, which I will discuss. But as we discussed, it's so important to capture when you have a partner that you trust them, that you like them, and you understand the value that they're providing. Let's take it a step forward. Some of the variables that partners are really good at helping you with. For example, number 1, support. They can support you. They can help. You're working with somebody that is capturing your blind spot, right? If you're not good at defending yourself, people hire an attorney. If you're not good with finances, people hire a financial planner. If you're not good with taxes, then you hire a tax professional. This is why sometimes when people enter a relationship, opposites attract. Seriously. If I didn't meet my wife, I probably wouldn't have gotten married. Why did I marry my wife? Well, we're not opposites. We're very much type A personalities. So for that, it was an enhancement of the life. I thought she would enhance my life. And thank God she did. So most people marry people or get in partnerships or in relationships where they hire somebody that's opposite of them, or work with somebody that's opposite, different personalities. One might be in sales, one maybe is back office and operation. And so, or relationships, one's really quiet and the other, you can't shut them up if you wanted to. So understand the blind spots when you're going for this. And support is crucial for that. In support, one worries about everything, the other's carefree. This is healthy. Don't argue about it. You balance each other out. Emotions are important. Staying disciplined is important. Going through hard times, equally important. Because here's the thing. With a partnership, sometimes all you're looking for is somebody just to listen to you. You know, it's funny. There's a guy named Lou Holtz, who was an old football coach, Notre Dame, and I remember hearing him speak, and he said something that really resonated with me. And I've said this multiple times on the show, but this matters when you have a financial partnership. And that is when you in general, should never complain. Stop complaining. We hear it all the time, right? But let me tell you why. It's easy to tell you stop complaining. Now it's my time to tell you why you shouldn't complain. Because when you do complain, the people you're complaining to, 90% of them don't care. But check this out. The other 10% are happy you're going through the garbage anyway. This is why you don't complain. Having a partner, a paid partner, is important. Now, people have a psychologist for that. We talked about a life coach. We talked about almost a financial psychologist in certain aspects. Having a partner can help you with that because these people are getting paid to care, right? You get what you pay for. Here is another thing. Everybody wants you to do well. right? I mean, outside of your enemies who wish your death, God forbid, but everybody wants you to do well. But not everybody wants you to do better than them. There is this competitive side of the world today. And when you start to become successful, first when you get your job, then maybe when you start just excelling, getting promoted, or getting raises, or getting another job opportunity, or whatever the case may be. Maybe you're self-employed, right? And you're starting off struggling, and then you start to become really successful. Every time your success level doubles, you're going to lose 50% of your friends or acquaintances or people. So this is the reality of life. I can tell you from personal experience, and more importantly, from the clientele base that we've worked with for 20 years. So this is true. When you work with a financial professional that is personally vested in your success, when somebody always wants you to clear out the noise and to always want you to be the best version of yourself and make the proper financial decisions, not friends saying how cool would it be for you to get a Lamborghini, but actually making sure you can afford and get the vehicle that you need or the payments that make sense based on your situation. How many people know your full financial situation? That means you're like financially naked in front of them. If somebody who truly knows everything. This is a true partnership, right? What did you say? Your relationship that you're in, situations like that, yielded similar situations. So these are core elements. When you work with a partner, these people sometimes become professional friends because their job becomes more of a professional communicator. This is why having a financial partner makes sense. When you look at the divorce rates and the problems that are out there, most of it comes from money. When you have a financial professional that can stay with you, a partner that can understand your situation, this is crucial. You should know from the first meeting, it's not about them being charming. You leave that meeting not feeling good about yourself because their job is to make you feel good about yourself. But how much do they know about me? How much did I divulge? When you left that meeting, did it feel this feeling of liberation almost? That you were able to share everything. Now, it's not just you laying on a couch sharing all that information. It's being asked the right questions to be able to extract that information without you even knowing it. By the way, folks, if you're just joining me, you're listening to Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner, and your host of More Knowledge, More Wealth here on every weekend, talking about all important topics of personal finance. And today I wanted to just go over the core elements of chapter 3 of how the rich get richer, talking about how the rich choose financial partners. And in a situation like this, where we're going over just aspects of relationships and partnerships, the core element remains of who can help you to your goal and who is a trusted person. Because you may have family, you may have friends, but envy and jealousy sometimes kicks in, especially when you're making more than them. You have a job and they don't. Or you put yourself in a situation where they're just saying, look how greedy and selfish, when you're trying to choose between a house that's already bigger than theirs versus another house that you're looking to get that's 2 times bigger than theirs. You know, you can understand how that can come off it has bad optics, especially when somebody's struggling to make their mortgage payment. Are they really going to try to help you? Like without any type of envy in their heart? It's a very logical thing when you put it in such simple terms. But this is where people mess up. The rich do not involve. They might have a strong relationship with some of their partners, but they don't bring their partners home. And their financial partners, tax partners, lawyers, these people, if you can afford to have them, could be some of the biggest and most important relationships you have in your life. Having a partner that makes sure that helps you achieve your goal and not get anything in the way, to help you through the hard times, to make sure you're disciplined, to control your emotional, where you can go to somebody when you're emotional and tell them what's on your mind and not be judged, where they can support you, where you can like them and you trust them, and they actually listen to you. Who doesn't want that? Everybody wants that. The question everybody asks is, can I afford to have it? And this is where it gets tricky, because there are firms out there that take advantage and sell. And things are great, and you may think that you're getting the service that you deserve, but mostly you're just being sold. It's a transactional relationship. It's not a full-on relationship. This is where it's hard. This is why understanding the different types of advisors, you have commission-based advisors, fee-based advisors, and fee-only advisors, where we get paid directly from the clients. Understanding those concepts are huge. You have insurance brokers, you have stock brokers, then you have registered investment advisors. It gets complicated. RIAs is what has a disclosure document called an ADV that tells you exactly what any conflicts of interest are. But here's the thing, some RIAs are fee-based, which means they can still make commission. It's only the fee-only registered investment advisors are the ones that reduce and eliminate conflicts of interest at the best capability of all planners that are out there. This is what makes our industry difficult, because you want transparency. You want to make sure the company, and by the way, paying 1% for somebody to manage your money is expensive when there's zero value that's being added. Truly. You could go to Betterment and do it for 0.25%. So if you need just investment management, you should not be paying 1%. But if you need a financial partner, if you need somebody to help in more, whether it's taxes, estate planning, cash flow management, retirement planning, other strategies that are available out there, problem solving, especially for businesses and other type of consulting, that 1% could be the cheapest 1% you've ever paid, especially when they're trying to talk you off a cliff. Because as you go through hard times, as your emotions get the best of you and you lack support, you have to ask yourself, do you have the right people around you? This is what chapter 3 of How the Rich Get Richer goes over. Folks, that was a fast show.
I want to thank you for tuning in with us this weekend. You can always reach out to myself or any one of our colleagues here at Falcon Wealth Planning. Our phone number is 855-963-2526. That's 855-96-FALCON, like the bird. Or visit our website at falconwealthplanning.com. That's falconwp.com for short, where you can go and visit our Knowledge Center, which redirects you to YouTube. We have over 1 million views, folks. And if you want us to discuss anything on YouTube, on the show, whatever, send your inquiry to radio@falconwp.com. That's radio@falconwp.com. And if you want this episode, any one of our previous episodes, you can go on podcast, Spotify. We have them all there. And folks, we want to thank you for your trust. We want you to feel free and feel comfortable to reach out with any questions that you have. I want you to have a fantastic weekend. Have a great week, and God bless.